Good morning. We finished off yesterday thinking about the ark coming to rest on Mount Ararat. As you read the story in the 8th chapter of Genesis, you may be surprised to see that the actual day was mentioned. It was the 17th day of the 7th month that the ark came to a rest. Why do you think God put that in there? Because God was inspiring the scriptures. So why was the actual day mentioned? Well, if you look at the story of Jesus' life, you find that he rose from the dead, creating the new covenant of the New Testament, which we will be dealing with on exactly the same day. The 17th day of the 7th month, the 17th of Nisan. That is when he rose from the dead. Coincidence? Well, the trouble is you can get so many of these things and people say coincidence, coincidence, coincidence. But I think it's more than that. God is just sending us a message, proving once again that not only did this happen with Noah, but it happened on exactly the same day that Jesus rose from the dead. We look at this covenant that God is going to make with Noah. He comes out to the ark and God shows him the world, a world in a sense which Noah had never seen before. The humidity had gone out of the atmosphere. The sky was now blue. And the rainbow, which up until now had just been a white band in the sky, was all multicolored. And God said to him, "This is the sign of the new covenant. I will never again destroy the world in that way. Never again will that happen. The new covenant I'm going to make is with you and your sons." And Noah took of the animals that he had been saved, and he offers some of them in sacrifice, the clean animals. Again, this is very strange, because why were some animals clean and some animals not clean? This again, as remember me saying about rules given when they left Eden, which were not really explained. It seems that the clean animals were the animals that could be used for sacrifice. The unclean animals were not to be used in that way. So there's already in this particular moment an idea of clean and unclean animals. Some could be used in sacrifice, the others could not be used in sacrifice. But Noah comes out of the ark and God speaks to him. And he says, "I will never again destroy the world with such a calamitous way through this waters again. It'll be held in place. And I'll put the rainbow in the sky. You can now see it quite clearly because the humidity is gone. And it'll be reminded to you from now on, seed time and harvest will not fail. I will never again do this." And then he speaks to him and he says to him, "Now go out and populate the world, and I am going to give you authority." Oh, by the way, this is the first time that they were allowed to eat meat. Up until now, they've been vegetarians. Now God says to Noah, "I will give you not just the vegetation, I will give you meat as well." Another big step is taking place. God gives now the lower animals that Noah might be able to eat them, as well as the vegetarians. So this is all going on. And another thing he actually gives to him. He says, "I will give you such authority that you will be able to hold people accountable. If man sheds man's blood, then I give you authority to sentence that man to death." Now this may seem a strange thing, but this was the authority God gave to him. From now on, Noah and his descendants, through government, true honest government, would be able to control people, both imprisoning them and, if necessary, putting them to death when they disobeyed the laws of God and moved against society. This idea of being able to execute or take people's life is rather strange. About 20 years or so before Jesus' death on the cross, there was a quarrel between the Roman authorities and the Jews. And the Roman authorities took away from the Jews the right of execution. The rabbis were distraught. They said, it has been taken away. Our authority to execute has been taken away. If you remember, when Jesus is arrested, they go to Pilate and they say, we can't execute. You've taken it away from us. But even as those rabbis were so distraught at having taken this authority away from them, 20 years before it actually happened, what they did not realize, that up north in Nazareth, a young carpenter had just had his bar mitzvah. The authority had passed from the state to him.